Good afternoon, AMP community, AMP family. What is going on, everybody? I hope y'all all had a great 4th of July weekend and hopefully recovering today. I know that some folks may have time off from work today. Other folks may not, but in any case, let's hop right on into our daily analysis. Number 22, taking a look at AMP. I wanted to start today off by looking at the weekly chart, right? Just to get a sort of a macro perspective about how we did last week and what we could possibly be in store for this week. So last week, right, we actually did close our weekly candle on the 4th, which was yesterday. We closed this week slightly below where we closed last week, right? But the good thing is last week, the week of the 21st, this is where we saw massive selling pressure, right? This week, right, although we did close below the week before, the selling pressure was not as bad, right? So we see a true decrease in selling pressure here. Right now, we are currently still, respecting our major trend line, but we are sort of like floating right on it, right? So I think that right now, this week, this will be a week to watch. We could possibly close this week not really moving in price action at all, right? This weekly candle could in fact end up closing as a doji, as we see right here. That's a strong possibility. Maybe a pretty boring week, but this would be a sign that buyers and sellers are agreeing on the fair market price, with the value of AMP being around the 0.055 cents level, right? So that's what we have going on the weekly. Now let's take a look at the daily. Give me 1 second. I'm going to plug in my laptop really quick. I just noticed that we just went into power saving mode, so I want to make sure that you guys get the best quality light as possible. Give me 1 second. Okay, we are back. Now, taking a look at the daily, right? Again, extending our trend lines, right? Our resistance line of this bearish pennant and our support line of this bearish pennant, right? We can see that we are coming so close to the end of this market structure, right? Just looking at the dates, if we go over, this would be July 6th. The end of this market structure could possibly be July 7th, right? So I think that by July 7th, we should know what AMP wants to do, right? By July 7th, we should either, bounce up to retest our major trend line, right? Where we have 6 total touches on it, right? Or we could possibly, break to the downside, retest the end of this bearish pennant, and then possibly fall even lower to, our 0.038 support level where we know we have strong support, right? So those are our 2 cases that can happen with this bearish pennant market structure right now, right? It could either play out to the T and we can confirm that this was in fact a bearish pennant, or it could be a fake out, in which case we'll move up to the upside, retest and form support on our major trend line, and then possibly go up to retest our previous support, flip to resistance at the 0.074 cents mark, right? So July 7th, I would expect to hear or see something on the charts on this date, right? It could be possibly news on Twitter from AMP or Flexa, right? It could be something about the merchant fees. It could be good or bad. It could be FUD, right? We don't know, but I expect to see something either in the news or on the charts from AMP on July 7th, once we get to the end of this bearish pennant market structure. All right, so that's what we have going on the daily. On the 4 hour, right? Shout out to, the Reddit community again. Somebody did leave a comment and asked, what do I think about seeing a falling wedge on the 4 hour, right? and he directed me to this link, right? I'm not sure who drew this, but this right now, it looks as if that is playing out on the 4 hour also, right? In addition to this bullish crab harmonic pattern, and also respecting Wyckoff's theory of accumulation. So we have all of those playing out on the 4 hour, right? And just kind of switching back to my chart, you can see the same thing. The only difference in the person that marked up the previous chart is that his chart is a little bit cleaner. He decided to only call out the falling wedge reversal pattern, right? Which is very valid, right? It's very valid. I could do the same thing here, but I also see a little bit more things, right? And I understand some of the macro theories, like Wyckoff's theory of accumulation, and wanted to put that on my chart, right? So in any case, all three of those scenarios are pretty bullish, right? And we really just have to wait to see if they will play out, right? And what I mean by that is, one, we have to see some signs of strength, right? Which is why I put the market structure of accumulation here, using Wyckoff's theory of accumulation. We have to wait to see if we have signs of strength before we can confirm something. So, again, we can see as many bullish case scenarios as we want to, but until we confirm that, until price starts to move up, until we see the momentum shifts, like in price and also on the charts, we can only, say that things are forming, not that things have happened, right? So right now we are still floating on our support line at the 0.055 level. And, I expect this to go on, again, until July 7th, and I will extend that. July 7th, I think that's when we will see something happen, right? So that's what we have going on with the 4 hour. Last but not least, taking a look at the 1 hour, we see the same thing happening, right? Just a little bit more in detail. We can see that we do have some more secondary tests on our support line. Again, this is pretty good in my opinion. We see very little, very, very, very little selling volume, right? But we see a lot of touches on our support line, right? And then we see these huge spikes in volume, right? That, in my opinion, is very questioning. It makes you think about, the market players. We pretty much know that, smart money has been getting into crypto all around. We don't know who's been getting into AMP, right? We know that NCR did make some news about, partnering with over 650 major bank institutions to be able to offer their customers to buy crypto, right? So we don't know what NCR has told any of their partners. We don't know if they have, the deep knowledge and foundational understanding that owning AMP is the collateral to Flexa. We don't know, but is there a possibility that they do know? Yes, there is. So, if that's a possibility, there is a possibility that, one, they're making, huge purchases over the counter without, moving market price too much. And two, it is a possibility that those who aren't making over the counter purchases are purchasing from the open market, in big quantities, right? Which could justify huge buying volume that we see here that are all over 30 million in buying volume, right? Strong possibilities. But again, we just have to wait and be patient to see, what's going to happen and what things are going to play out, right? Again, the 4 hour chart, in my personal opinion, is the most important time frame to analyze, because it's shown a lot of the trends that's happened, and it's played out to almost a T. So the 4 hour is what I'm going to personally keep an eye on. In addition to the daily chart, right? We want to see if this bearish pennant is a fake out, right, in which will go up, or if it in fact, is a real bearish pennant, right? In that case, we should see some movement to the downside. So we just have to wait and see. But July 7th, that is the date that I expect that we will see something happen in, the market for AMP. Just kind of taking a step back and looking at what's going on with Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin is down currently, just for the day, right? We did make this higher low right here. We failed to, create a higher high right here. But, this is the start of a new week, and we don't know what's going to happen with Bitcoin. But, what happens with Bitcoin normally impacts the overall crypto market. So for now, we definitely do have to still, use Bitcoin as our benchmark for what's going to happen with AMP. But, again, the same theory of accumulation using Wyckoff's theory of accumulation can be played out on a Bitcoin chart. And, we have a lot of confirmations except for one, the sign of strength, right? We need that sign of strength in order to really validate, this market structure. So we need to see some movement like that. So that brings us to the end of, today's daily analysis. I think we all just have to be a little bit patient. July 7th is the day to watch. All right. So until then, I will see you all next time.